charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire. Red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling.
What's up, guys? Happy Friday. It's giveaway day. We got Noah, Brett, Sterling. How you doing, Sterling? Unnamed Ghost, Victor. Yep, Victor, we can check those out. Pluff, Offshore Miner, JB. What's up, guys? So yeah, Bitcoin's been on a climb. Now we're starting to finally get that pullback. What's up, Mikey? John? What's up? All right. So yesterday we mentioned that we had the possibility of trying to get acceptance into this valley area right here. And we tried, but then we mitigated a supply concern that was here. Right after CPI came out, we had this run right into it. And then all those residual sell orders were filled, and it dropped the price back inside this local internal range. And then we ended up losing momentum shortly afterwards. And now we're coming back down to potentially retest this valley area. A lot of traders hated this valley area apparently. It's what I've been reading about. But man, I love this one. There's a lot of like low time frame swing failure pattern opportunities with good confluence of the valley area acceptance. But yeah, I only got to capture a couple of them, but there are about 4 just in this little spot right here. But yeah, so we lost momentum. We're coming down. I'm looking for the confluence of us like meeting this previous valley area high and grabbing the liquidity that we're kind of capturing right now along the way down. And this is where it starts to get a little bit cold after this floor here. So I'm going to see if we get a bullish change of character, jump in on that and start targeting that previous valley area low again in hopes for acceptance and a target extension to that valley area high. Because now we got less of a threat to deal with after we mitigate those sell orders. We do have the VWAP here that will start to catch up with the valley area low. So we might have 2 forms of confluences that could cause extra resistance here. But I do believe that we'll have a good opportunity for a long once we reach around 108.99 here. If for any reason we break through this, the technical target of this regression trend here is this as well. So we should have spot reactions to induce a pump. But if we break through this and get acceptance to this valley area again, we could get a rotation to the valley area low. We do have a couple levels down here that I'd really like to take longs off of, especially like the 104, 250, but that'll be a big ask. I don't think we'll get there, at least not over the weekend. I think today, if we're looking for a trade plan for today, it'll be a long opportunity off of just this area here. We'll see what we get. So we just gotta wait for the picture to be painted that the support is being respected, and I'll give you guys the signal in the Discord that we're gonna be jumping on that long. If you already have some experience, then what we're looking for is like a break of momentum. We don't have properly established momentum just yet, not at least on the 15-minute time frame. You need to have a proper 2-candle pullback just like this, and then a lower low, and then you can start drawing your trend line from the high to the high of that break of structure, and then you can find out the momentum from there. Right now it's pretty darn steep, so if this is the end of the pullback and we get to close the lower low, it's going to be a really steep momentum. And usually when that happens, when we break it, we tend to consolidate a little bit first before reversing. So there might be a little bit of patience at play here. Okay, cool. What do we have? We got Jason. How you doing, man? Keen Bean. Blair. Hi from MZ. What's up, man? Daryl. Wayne. Mikey. Remus. Justice. What's up with your writing today? It's all good, man. All right. All right, cool. So that's my trade plan for today for Bitcoin. Just preparing for this. If you're in the Discord, you guys will know when I enter, where I put my stop loss, and where I'll be targeting, and when I exit. But until then, we'll just be sitting on our hands. If you got in on this sweep here, congratulations, you'll be doing pretty well. But this is where you might have to prepare for a potential exit plan on your trade. If you're in on that short, or if you got in on the break of momentum and the bearish change of character, and those are both great opportunities. The change of character, unfortunately, would have come with a really rough stop loss guard if you're doing it traditionally based off of the strong high. If you're not using the strong high, then you could use the 15-minute orb block and the 15-minute orb and the VWAP as a guardian for your capital until we have that proper pullback and break structure and lower low. Then you can revolve your stop loss to the top of that break structure. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. So now I can start taking your guys' requests on other assets and how we're going to prepare for the confluence of Bitcoin's pathing alongside those altcoins. You do tend to want to be trading alongside Bitcoin's bias when you're trading alts. Otherwise, Bitcoin can sometimes bully your trade into a loss. Okay. How you doing, Coma? You weren't the first to comment today. What's going on? Are you feeling okay? All right. All right, so we had our request already from Victor to look at Hype, Link, and Esther's. Throwing 3 at me right there. Let's take a look at, yeah, all three of those are great to look at. So I'm going to take a peek at hype first. Last time we looked at that was about 2 days ago. Looks like it's consolidating. Okay. Just had an SFP. So it's got a little bit of relative strength against Bitcoin right now. We have a demand zone below us. Nice. Okay. So good confidence for support down here. So if it falls down low, we have a good spot to prepare for longs. Let's see. So we have this zone of interest here. The ceiling of this area of interest is a 15-minute order block. Send this to back. And let's change this to our long zone. There we go. So we got our 15-minute order block right here. From the top of this wick to the bottom of that really tiny wick there before the impulse move up that generated the order block. So if we come back down through here and this SFP doesn't hit its technical target, right now it has a pathing suggestion based on this SFP that we're going to return to this high. That's the technical target right now of this SFP. So we'll see if we get there. So if you're in on that trade, just be aware that the VWAP is a barrier concern. So you might have to undercut your target if we have a harsh rejection off that area. But this is the technical target right now based on this swing failure pattern that just occurred here. But until then, if we lose this slightly horizontal support, slightly uptrending right here, we see it act as resistance. We could see it come down back into this area of interest where we have this previous value area low as good confluence for support as well if we dip down further within it. You could use a fib off of an impulse move from this low to this high as well to see if there's any confluence there. So from this wick to this wick, you can see that the golden pocket's also flush with the ceiling of this demand zone. So decent confluence is roughly around this 15-minute order block. Let's zoom out a little bit more. So it tells us a better picture, better story. That's what's going on here when you zoom out. So last time we were looking at the short internally, right? This is what we were talking about last time we were live about hype. We were preparing for the squeeze against the downtrending momentum and the uptrending momentum, and statistically they're more likely to break to the downside, and it did break to the downside with the head and shoulders just after kind of giving us that SFP. The SFP was the front run to the break, and then when you have the change of character occurrence like we did right here, that's a story telling you that you should hold your trade and not close your trade for a continuation. And then we ended up bouncing. It looks like we also got another little sweep here. We got the bounce, ended up breaking the falling wedge. The technical target for the falling wedge is what brought us to where we are now, because the target of these regression trends or falling wedges is the top here where liquidity starts to go cold. And we have confluence of acceptance into the value area right here, warning us that we could actually go beyond that target to the value area high. When you see acceptance into the value area, it comes to you as a break of structure. Like you break in, you retest, and you get the higher high. And that warns you could have a full rotation to the previous value area high or the active value area high. So here is our active or previous value area high, or get that marked. And then we start hitting resistance off of it as well. So market makers like to try to control the price within these value areas. They'll try to induce liquidity below the value area, induce liquidity above the value area, and then try to get the price to stay within it, and kind of use retail as a tool to drive price towards liquidity so they can get their entry plan in and their exit plan in. So right now they're inducing liquidity above us, and they could be trying to drive the price down. So that's why we're starting to see some resistance. So congrats to anyone who took this setup. It's looking pretty good so far. Now, what I'll be waiting for is the, like I didn't get it on this SFP, obviously. We're just looking at the chart together. So we could get up to here momentarily, but I'll be looking for a long down here, sit on my hands a little bit here, or maybe a sweep of this high for a short back to the local lows. So that's hype. So make sure you mark your wicks and set your alarms off of your bodies so you can get the heads up that we could be getting the SFP. So clone these. These are two great levels right here to prepare for sweeps with the confluence of the previous value area high. So if I were to draw pathing suggestions on how I'd prepare, it's either you get the sweep here or the sweep here. Or you can wait for the bullish change of character, break of momentum to ride it back up to the value area high. Okay, so that is hype. Now we are on the neckline of a large double bottom, so I'm kind of hoping for any holders of hype that we don't break this low and come back down here, because I mean, like the technical target of this is technically beyond the 50-day EMA. So if we do have that continuation, like this is your next spot you want to prepare for shorts. Like this is a really good spot for a harsh rejection. Okay, so that's hype, man. I hope that helps you out. I'll save the layout so you guys can use it. Let's go delete some of the noise from our last TA. All right, cool. And the other request was to look at Chainlink. So link. Let's see what we got. Regression trend to the upside. Okay. All right. So we had the supply concern here drawn out. Looks like we hit our head off of it twice, then came down. We delete that now. Actually, let's undo that delete because we can reuse that for the active price action. Right here. We have a 15-minute order block right there. We still have our previous point of control order block supply confluence here at 1826. So if we make our way up there at any point, it's great confluence for shorts if you get the structural evidence of the rejection. Now we can delete this. We have a rising wedge posture right here. Or I guess a regression trend. Oh, it's a wedge. Yeah, it's a wedge. Okay, the technical target for this bad boy is here. So if we at any point break to the downside, you'd preferably try to get in on a short on the upper trend line area. Use the order books. Don't just trust trend lines blindly. Use the order books to tell you if there are sell orders waiting in this area, because it tells you that there's evidence of other traders agreeing with that level, right? We do have the confluence of the trend line itself, potential order book confluence, the supply 15-minute order block. So here, if we have any resistance, it could be a good front run to this potential break where you could target here. Look at the technical target first, right? So if it's an SFP, look at the technical target first, and then hope for the change of character for the continuation. But Chainlink is actively bullish, but it's positioning itself to be bearish because we're taking and taking and taking liquidity, right? But we are stacking more below us. So statistically, that's why these break to the downside. Okay, so that's the short-term price action of Chainlink. That's what I prepare for. This here is a good golden level that you would want to watch, 1911. If we ever got up there again, guys, make sure you set your alarms near this zone because it could be a great spot to prepare for shorts. We had a lot of liquidity stacked here, and then we got more added recently right before when we had this little crash here. So additional reasons for a rejection here at this previous value area high. But right now we're dancing at the value area low of this previous value area. This is here. This is a historical one from previous price action in the past. And it's helped us a lot to prepare for potential moves for Chainlink. We got the other request was Esther, which I consider Hype's competitor. The bigger Esther gets, the more likely it is to absorb market shares from Hype. So pay a lot of attention to Esther if you are a Hype holder. We had a zone of interest here for shorts. It doesn't look like we have any evidence of a rejection at all, other than this little bit of a pullback, but didn't have any bearish change of character once we got up here. Might have helped you a little bit here on this tweezer reaction. But yeah, busted right through that. Now we're getting this little bit of a rounded top here. So evidence of basically when you see rounded tops or rounded bottoms, think of it as like a confidence shift. So the shift of the confidence of traders are kind of like starting to dwindle, like being less and less confident in that key area for us to go past it. We broke the downtrending momentum though. This momentum actually is pretty important. So if we zoom out, this is the pace of the sellers ever since $2.18. And that pace, the pace of the sellers have finally shifted, and we're starting to see us like try to get a climb back up. So maybe we'll come down. We're kind of in this local demand zone right now as we speak. From here, I'm going to build that after retesting this previous high as support. And so we built a little demand zone. So hopefully we get support here very soon, because this is kind of like the last little zone of interest until back down here, way down here. So you can mark out what's left to pretty much be mitigated. So I'm hoping that if Bitcoin is preparing to be bearish and come down lower, that Esther has some relative strength and slows down the pace of its drop. This is an area where you typically want to prepare for longs. Zoom out on this. This was a trend line prepare for shorts. We don't need that anymore. We don't need this anymore either. I do want to pull a fixed range volume profile from the start of this demand zone to the moment where we left the valley area. And we see that we have that previous valley area low, trying to hold it up for a moment. And just marking the valley area as point control. And all these consolidative zones, after you break out of structure like this, you want to mark them all so you know what kind of behavior to expect, right? Along the way up. Like this is our immediate threat here, but we have a consolidative zone. Here you want to mark, here you want to mark. And we've got our top one already done from when we were trading in that area. Because when you get acceptance to the valley area, it helps you get an understanding of target extensions to like valley area highs and stuff like that, and key areas of interest. Every consolidative zone will have a point of control that will be the strongest point in that range. All right, so you're looking for a bullish change of character in this zone. Kind of in a make it or break it moment right now for Esther. Okay, got a healthy pullback on Bitcoin, nice. So you just need that lower low. We bounced out the 30-minute order block, inducing this pullback. We could hit our head off the orb. Acceptance into the orb normally will draw us towards the top side of it. Sometimes that conditions us for a range. Sometimes that allows us to get us a continuation, retest, and a higher high. But yeah, right now, initially, kind of like a valley area, right? Where the low side you want to treat as resistance when you're below it. When you're inside of it eternally, treat it as support, resistance. And when you're above it, treat it as support. And right now we're below it for resistance. So we went through Bitcoin, hype, Esther, and Chainlink. You didn't have the guts to buy Esther at 93 cents, but your finger was on the button. That's okay, man. Like, think about Esther right now. Sometimes it's best to buy at a position of strength, right? So for me, to want to buy at a position of strength in this area, you'd want to either try to catch the low with an SFP and then see if you get the continuations. And that's technically a form of position of strength. And you're not just buying blindly because the price is right? Or a double bottom break, retest higher high, jumping on that, stop loss guard. Or the break of momentum and you're just trying to get in on evidence of support around this kind of area, right? So that way you can have your money working for you immediately. You don't want to just be buying an asset because it's gone low, right? You want to be buying an asset when it's gone low and has evidence of a reversal, like a trend-based move back up. So you want your money working for you immediately. You don't want to be put on pause and stuck in a trap. Especially if you trade for a living, you don't want your money being stuck somewhere because it impacts your income, right? French Toaster, what's up, man? From the Otter Gang. Just liked it. Thanks, man. Okay, so we went through Esther. Oh, we got AVAX, CRO, Zcash, and Tron as a request. Let's pull up AVAX. The chart's been a little bit of a mess lately. Last time I looked at it was on the 20th, so about 4 days ago. What were we looking at? We were hoping for an SFP, it looks like, in this supply zone. But instead, we got a loss of momentum. And then we came down, hit this previous value area low, came back up, hit the momentum as resistance, consolidated against the value area low, and then lost it. So now we're kind of fighting to try to get acceptance back inside that value area. Let me zoom out, though, because this, for some reason, got overlap. I want to see why I have that mess. This little guy is not that significant. I know we could see that it's had a lot of influence over the price action in the past, but it's not that significant of a value area. It's really young. Okay, so back to the 15-minute time frame for AVAX. We got this horizontal resistance, evidence of a large sell wall in the order books. You can check to see if this wick mitigated the sell wall, because wicks like this create weakness in the order books. And they also flush out a lot of liquidity. Let's grab this uptrending momentum. We got this horizontal resistance. So we have what's called an ascending triangle. Right? A lot of people love trading these. Use formations to help dictate a story, right? All they do is really tell you a lot about a story. So here we stacked a lot of liquidity, right? And then we ended up taking all of it here. We can go on to CoinGlass and find out exactly how much liquidity was taken, because some people aren't as confident with certain assets, especially altcoins, right? So if they're not very confident with an asset, then their leverage tends to be lower, so the distance of the liquidity tends to be further away. Other than liquidity in the form of stop losses, that's a different story altogether. But then there's these things called liquidation traders, where they don't use stop losses. They just manage their leverage in a way where they'll get liquidated instead of stopped out. And like, I get it, but that's not a healthy practice. What's the age of this range here? The age of this range, 2 days, 14 hours. So we need to have our liquidation time frame overlap that. So we're going to use the 3-day. It's telling me no data. Let's go to Model 3 for a second. No data again. What is going on? Let me refresh this page. API error? Well, it looks like they're having issues with their API. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so here's the nasty wick here. Took quite a bit of money out of off the table, but we do still have a bunch stacked above us. And if we look at the liquidity, relative to the highs and lows, we know that we have more above us, even though we had that wick come up and take quite a bit of it. So maybe we can SFP off this wick, grabbing this liquidity as an exit plan for market makers buying off of the uptrending support. So we can look, yeah, that could be a good plan to prepare for a potential SFP sweep. But if we have a full body candle close above that area instead, you could prepare for the return back up to these highs. I'm going to grab 2 value area pulls, because we have 2 strong value areas in this area. I'm gonna delete some of this noise. I'll keep this here, clone this, move this here. Make sure you get your magnet tool out so it's clung right to the price action. There we go. All right, let's get our fixed range volume profile. So because we mitigated the supply, we want to include the supply in this pull until this moment here. And then we have this pull right here. Same reason. Pull from here to here. Okay, so this helps tell us the story of continuation structure. I'm going to delete this previous value area data. Okay. So what we want to see for evidence of price action to bring us into this value area again is a break above the value area high. Use it as support. That is a trend-based rule for anyone who is a trend trader and want to learn value areas. I recommend trying to add value areas as a part of your arsenal if you're a trend trader, because it helps protect you from fake outs, right? Some people think that they broke out of something when they're actually still trapped inside of an area of interest. So we have a breakout, retest, higher high. I could see the pathing being something like this, where we come up, hit our head off the value area low, retest the value area high, and then to get acceptance in this value area, and then get a rotation up to the point of control while being mindful of this little supply concern right here. If I actually were to make a recommendation, we're going to draw that right now. There we go. Clone this bad boy here. There we go. All right. So right now, internally, we're actively bearish. We had a bearish change of character, but that could flip. We have uptrending support, so structurally we might not get the lower low and then break a structure, so just prepare mentally for that. But we could come up and sweep this low, then change the character, then come up from there if we got something like an SFP. So it's getting squeezed right now, but these are statistically more likely to break to the downside. So we're going to put a red triangle here. And the technical target is this low here. All right, that is AVAX. Kind of a picture perfect, almost, if you got rid of this wick. It's almost a picture perfect example of what a ascending triangle looks like. Okay, so that's AVAX. This is saved. So when you go to the Discord, you can type ! charts and you'll get access to that chart. Sing a song? Can we sing a song? I'll get demonetized, bro. No, maybe one day I'll get my guitar out here for you guys. I'll sing you guys a song. CRO. Congrats on the 7K subs. Thanks, man. You could thank the Otter Gang for that this morning. I gifted about like 50 memberships, and then Alex went out of his way and shared my channel and stuff like that. So we got like 20 subs this morning. It's pretty awesome. The power of the Otter Gang. CRO. Let's jump on CRO. I don't know if I have a CRO chart, but I can pull it up either way. Okay. Yeah, we don't. It's okay. CRO, USDT. Pull up on OKX. JMac, I was there. You got one for me. Oh, thanks, man. Okay. Oh, yeah, we were talking about the, on CRO, the parabolic curve. These tend to break to the downside. We hit our head off the 200-day EMA. It's the daily EMA. In confluence with the supply concern that we marked up right here. And we're anticipating, the bearish change of character. We got it a little sooner than we thought, but with the 200-day EMA, you couldn't really expect it to break through that right at the bottom of supply concern. And then when it broke, we were cautious of this demand here. And we got a bounce after we dipped down below it, but you shouldn't have gotten stopped out from that if you took the trade. So we delete this now. We had supply here, it looks like, but it got mitigated from this crazy wild pump and dump. The CPI data is what really brought life into the charts this morning, and now it's kind of dwindling down and calming down a bit. All the news traders. Okay. We can delete the parabolic curve now. Those are fun to draw, but building a large double bottom posture right now so far. We do technically have descending resistance here. So the pace of the sellers, you can track them through here. Watch the order books near these trend lines, guys. If there's a large sell wall on your trend lines and you enter along, let's say down here, you got to treat this trend line with respect, or else it could whack you right back down. If you see that there is no giant sell wall and you enter your long, then that's like, think of it like looking both ways before crossing the road, right? You don't want to get hit by the car. You want to be able to cross. And if you see that there is no sell wall, then that tells you a story that you might be able to hold your trade a little bit longer. And I know a lot of people struggle with being able to hold their trades. I find that, when beginners, especially beginners, when they start to come in and they get their TA down pat, they got their rules down, the next thing you got to master really is your emotions and being able to analyze the journey towards the target, right? Okay, cool. So we just hit our head off the local value area high, coming down towards the uptrending momentum. This is the pace of the buyers here, the pace of the sellers here, and we have an apex point right here. So we should have our break within the next 16 hours or so. Let's see, we're coming down to retest these highs right here. This is a form of support. So we got a proper pullback. So if we bounce off of this, break this internal neckline, get above the VWAP, then we can start to return back up to the downtrending momentum where we hit our head near this value area high. Now, because we are the same thing that we're talking about with hype on Wednesday, when you have the uptrending momentum go towards downtrending momentum, statistically, it's more likely to break to the downside. And you can back test the crap of that if you like and prove me right. Get the triangle here. There we go. So it might be a squeeze event coming soon, unless we break below these highs, retest them as resistance again, then we can start rotating back down towards this demand. We do have good confluence for longs here for sure, though. We got the 15-minute order block stacked here. We got liquidity below this wick for potential SFP, right into this demand. So if you're patient, you want to look for a potential scalp that can convert into a swing, and this is a good spot to prepare. I'm going to change this up. There we go. And set your alarms prior to the low, so that way you can prepare ahead of time and you don't have to stare at your screen all day. I thought I set a crossing alarm setting. Oh, I did. There it is. Okay. I set my alarm for this one too. Because this looks like a good potential. Yeah. Zero, like big picture. When you zoom out, it's in a massive macro broadening wedge. We're coming into we're in this like macro demand zone now as we speak. So this could be a moment where we could finally break through and break this downtrend momentum. But if we hit our head here, then awesome. It'd still be a great trade here even if we don't get the full move. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna set my alarm here in case I'm able to give you guys a safe signal on this. Make sure I message myself. That is a CRO trade. And what it's about. Shock and demand. Cool. That's CRO. Let's go back to Bitcoin's chart. All right. Looks like we're respecting that orb as resistance. It's insanely common. Just need a full body candle close here for anyone who's in shorts. If anyone's in a short, we get a full body candle close here. You can rotate your stop loss right above this area. Then you have the orb protecting you and the internal strong high as a guard too. And by the time we close down here, the VWAP should likely catch up to the highs as well. So you have that as a little guardian too. As many guardians as you can for your capital, right? Okay. So, CRO. Okay, we went through Esther, AVAX, Hype, Link, CRO, Bitcoin. What was the other request we got? Or did we get another one? Oh, Zcash. Okay. ZEC. I think we have a Zcash chart. I remember a few years ago, there was a short squeeze on Zcash that just absolutely wrecked so many people. Oh, we talked a lot here. So there was another little apex point here. We built this like head and shoulders posture last time we were talking about it. And preparing for a drop down. We broke this apex. The technical target, I don't think we hit the technical target, but we got to our demand zone of interest at a value area low. So there's lots of confluence for it to not hit that target, right? Yeah, the target was way down here at 210. But yeah, this demand zone, this previous value area low, confluence, kept the price up. And then we got the bullish change of character internally right here. We had a lot of little price action here. It fractalized a little bit. And so we had a double bottom posture here, double bottom here, double bottom here. That's a form of fractalization, warning you that there's evidence of accumulation. And then we have locally, what's going on right now is we are testing this high here as potential support. If we get that break of structure for the low, then we can prepare for it to come right back down to our very interest down here. This is still an area of support that I'd watch out for. We do likely have less liquidity, and we can check on that. I'm not sure if Zcash is a part of CoinGlass. I never looked at the analysis on its heat map there. Zcash, ZEC. It is. All right, cool. I remember when CoinGlass only had like 5 assets on it. It's awesome seeing how much it's got now. What I'm interested in seeing is from the start of this time to here. That was 4 days and 21 hours ago. So I'm going to get the wraparound time frame for that on CoinGlass. 4 days, 20 hours ago. Where's my CoinGlass tab? There it is. So we need the week. No data again. This thing is getting leggy. Yeah. Remember what I was talking to you guys about at the beginning of this live? Like lower confidence and leverage trading. When you see this gap, these gaps everywhere, these cold gaps, like you will not see this on Ethereum, for example. Like there's liquidity everywhere on Ethereum. So it's gotten, you'll have these gaps because people use lower leverage in assets like this. But yeah, right there. Okay, so 231.99. So right below this low, right here, we have a decent amount of stack liquidity that could induce a bounce. So I'm just going to do a wraparound here, and I'm going to mark this horizontal ray right here in case we get that SFP of that low. But right now we have bearish divergence. So we have uptrending uptrending resistance, but downtrending on the RSI. We're seeing a shift in the strength of Zcash here. So if we use this as resistance, and we're very close to confirming as resistance, the technical target for this move would likely just bring us right down to our area of interest that we're talking about here. Yeah. And stop loss would be above the wick here. If you want to give it breathing room, you can use the VWAP guard. We could mark this in case we return. Send it back. Make this a little bearish. There we go. See if the R&R is there. It's not really there. You need to use it. Yeah, you need a tight close. Blow that wick. And use the top of this high here as your stop loss. The VWAP, even though it's more protection, it'll likely increase your win rate. And it hurts your R&R too much. So if you don't feel comfortable with that one, then don't take it, right? When in doubt, stay out. But it is, all signs are pointing down right now. You can always wait for the long. Right here. Alright, cool. If we get that break structure low, this is going to likely become a supply concern along the way up. Alright, cool. Alright, we can delete this noise. We don't need this anymore. It was helpful in the past. It's not helpful anymore. I know some people like to analyze the noise when they look at my charts. They'll use my chart links and look in the past and see what we've done. All right, cool. So this is Zcash. I hope that helps you out. This is a great spot to prepare for longs at 235. Make sure you look for the structural evidence of support and don't just ape in with a limit order. That's not how I trade. I know limit orders are great because they lower your fees, but it's like you're trying to predict the future. What we need to see is the evidence of support. So I normally recommend limit orders to those who had their rules all met. All your rules are already met. And then limit order in between your invalidation point and your confirmation point. And you'll save a lot of money on fees that way, and you'll increase your win rate dramatically that way too. I promise you that will increase your win rate. Okay, Tron was the other request. Okay, Tron. Yes, we can look at Sol, Tron, Ethereum, and Solana. Okay. So let's pull up Tron. That thing's been on a tear. Let's see if this thing's chillaxed at all since we last looked at it. It's been a while since we looked at it. I don't usually trade Tron. October 1st was the last time we looked at it. So about 23 days ago. This thing had no chill. Yeah, so we looks like the last time we looked at it was this double bottom. Right? We broke out of this valley area. We got the confluence of breaking the 50-day EMA. Right? So we had the structural confluence. We had the EMA confluence. We had the valley area confluence of this break. It gave us a technical target of this high, but this supply zone right here that we were concerned about, and this point of control confluence, it drove the price down. So you got to be aware of your barriers. You get your targets in mind, but you have to be aware of your barriers for an exit plan in case things go south. And structurally, we had a double top. So if you look at this, we didn't really have a proper pullback on the hourly, but you could, oh yeah, we did. Okay, we did. You had a proper pullback on the hourly. Didn't get the higher high close. You can use the 15-minute structure for sure to exit this properly. Likely would have gotten out on the candle close below that wick if you didn't get out during those highs. Okay, so that we can delete this. We don't need this anymore. We could reuse this to here. Okay, and let's zoom back out. So we lost this momentum, and this is a big deal because this is momentum that's held it up for, since it was at 21 cents, right? We had this is the pace of the buyers for over 200 days, and we finally lost it. Retraced some of that low. Okay. Is this the daily posture? Is this the 10th? Yeah, that's the 10th. This is the Black Friday sale that we all had on most of our alts. Got these 2-wick levels we can watch. Tron's one of the few that's almost fully retraced its wick, though. I'm kind of more bullish about that than bearish, I'll tell you. If we come down, we could sweep the low. There's actually not very much liquidity below most of these wicks, because not a lot of people had the confidence to actually enter a futures leverage trade off of that drop. Heck, nor should you. Like, it's like catching the knife, and the knife sometimes goes right through your hand. We had this little demand zone here that's been kind of holding us up. But now what we can do is go back to the hourly, and we can pull a fixed range volume profile from the start of this valley area. Right here. Forward. We're deviating below the valley area by about 50%. Let me just find that out for sure. I can visualize where the golden pocket is, but sometimes the deviations are tough. Okay, we're below 50% deviation of the valley area. So when you deviate really far from a valley area, you got to anticipate that if we reverse, that the valley area can act as resistance. If it's only like a 25% deviation, and depending where your confirmation level is, sometimes you have the confluence of confirming acceptance and breaking into it simultaneously. And that gives you a great trade opportunity to target the upside of the valley area. John, crypto. Yeah, we looked at Esther already, man. A couple times, actually. I think it was about 15 minutes ago, if you want to look back, bro. So here, this is the pace of the sellers. We could be coming down to approach like one of these 2 wick levels for liquidity. You could prepare for a reversal off of one of these 2 areas. Either be an SFP or a bullish change of character after a break of momentum. That's what I'd be looking for locally, man. So sweep here, bounce, break of momentum, or sweep here. And if we take out this low, then we've reclaimed the entire wick of that massive crash. There's some assets that if they reclaim their wick, they'll be going to zero. I think Atom was one of the ones that basically went to zero. It was nuts. If you bought that low, some people have like these ridiculous limit orders for like a spot buy at prices you think they'll never be hit, but sometimes you have events like this where they end up getting filled. If you had a $1 fill at Atom on where it wicked down to, you would have made like 236,000% on that buy. Just ridiculous. Okay, so that's Tron. That's what I'm looking for right here. It's got a good momentum on its drop. Like Bitcoin's getting a slow drop, whereas Tron has a lot of pairing liquidity with Bitcoin, so it does influence Tron's price action quite a bit. But Tron had some relative strength for a long time, so it makes sense for it to have some relative weakness because a massive majority of Tron holders are at an extreme profit. So it needs to cool down a little bit. And if we zoom out on the macro, like we have broad momentum like here from its like the start of this move when it was at 5 cents like 2 years ago. It's just been an uptrend for like, sorry, that's not 2 years. Yeah, but 2 years ago. Been an uptrend for 2 years straight. There's our macro demand zone at 20 some cents. So if I were to assume the floor for Tron, if it were to go into a very long-term downtrend, this would be definitely an area that I would assume as the floor. We have this really strong demand zone here that could keep us consolidating in this area until we retest this momentum again. We got a lot of negative space to fill. All right, cool. So I hope that helps you out for a trade plan. That's also one I would like to look at. I'm going to mark that one too. Set my alarm roughly around 30.53. Create. There we go. Crossing alarm. All right, cool. So that's Tron. Yeah, Adam was crazy. I bet people got scared out of that one. Adam gave me, what was that? It gave me Luna vibes. And I know it's tokenomics doesn't support something like that, but it definitely gave me Luna vibes. Luna had the combination of the crash and the tokenomic behavior that allowed something like that. So you got to be aware of what's being done in the background with the asset, how its inflation or deflation works. Okay, Ethereum and Solana. Okay. ETH. How you doing, man? Still in this descending triangle? Cool. Got this uptrending momentum. I can delete this stuff. I keep that there. So this is we broke the more macro downtrending momentum here. We had a falling wedge squeeze against it here. And that broke violently. So unless you got in on these lows, you weren't getting into that trade. Not safely, at least. And right now we have this uptrending momentum starting to fail. Oh, this is okay. We're at the previous all-time high value area low here. So if we lose this and come down to the value area low, which is at 3,740, we have great stacked liquidity below these lows. Let's mark these up. SFP opportunity potentially here at 3,710. I'll be looking for longs around there. We have double distribution. This tells you a story of where the interest is, right? Oh, we got a triple. Yeah. So here, when we get above these volume shelves or below them, we tend to move quickly between them, right? So say, for example, you entered a long down here. You got acceptance into the value area. You got to watch it as if it's going to rotate to this area of interest first as potential resistance. If we break past it, then your next area of interest is here. And you can see how the price action behaves around it, right? Well, the initial price action is what creates it, and then it influences the future price action. Okay, so that prepare for a potential continuation here. We're starting to lose that momentum. Point of control is the next area of interest for potential support, where we might get a bounce, retest the previous value high, and then build this head and shoulders kind of posture that will drive the price back down to here, because that's the kind of technical target you would get, right? Mark this wick. If we don't get the SFP here, you can also mark this wick here for another opportunity for a sweep. And then we got this bad boy here with the confluence of the previous point of control. So 3 great areas to prepare for an SFP. If not, you can use anyone who's taken the course will know what I'm talking about, but we have an opportunity for the clairvoyant strategy as well around here. Or if you get that break of momentum, bullish change of character, target the value high. Okay. That is Ethereum. Is that CPI release right there? No. Okay. It Kind of got a front run to it. Oh no, that was, yeah. All right, cool. So that's Ethereum. Prepare for longs. If you're not in a short, you shouldn't take a short. You should be preparing for longs. Okay, and we had a request to look at. Hey, I have a question. Have you seen my wife? What? That's a good response, man. I don't know how to respond to that one. Don't remind me about Luna. Bad memories. I was so fortunate to be a part of that. I didn't have anything in Luna. Well, I did. No, I did. Yeah, I just got out because it broke key support that if broken, I thought the price would teleport to a really bad spot. And I was right, but I didn't think it would be like that extreme because at the time, no one really knew what was going on in the background. And one thing you guys should know about Tron, though, as bullish as it may seem right now, Tron's stablecoin is actually a carbon copy of Luna's stablecoin. And it uses the exact same system. So if they have I would recommend looking into it. So if they have an event like Luna did, they're kind of, unless they made changes very recently, they kind of put themselves in position to be subjected to that kind of crash too. But the two, the Luna's stablecoin and Luna had like, they talked to each other, whereas Tron, they don't really do it the same way. So just be aware of that. That's what kind of kept me away from Tron, as much as I would like to be a holder of it right now with the pump it's going through. Okay, so Solana was the last request that we got. Sol, the king of SFPs. If you're an SFP trader, I recommend having Sol on your watch list. It gives you an insane amount of opportunities. Okay. And we had that very easy to predict drop there. That was an insane amount of confidence for this short. I got a lot of noise in this chart. I'm sorry about that. I can delete some of this noise here. I'm going to move this here. Just all the value area data is so helpful with Solana's price action. Well, okay. We'll keep this one here. Yeah, we'll keep this one here. Keep this guy here. We have the stacked, even more liquidity here. Let's drag this bad boy over here. Next time we can repair. That's a great area at 202 to prepare for shorts, guys. You'll likely get a target of the value area low at 191 when we get there. But of course, you watch that point control because it's being respected like crazy. Starting to lose that momentum here. I know we failed and used it as resistance already, but we came and reclaimed it. And it's been honoring as support in this regression trend, this ascending regression trend. Here's an area of demand. It's falling down with everything else. A previous day VWAP right here could induce a bit of a bounce, pull back. But around here is where I would prepare for longs. Confluence of these previous highs. You got the wick level here. The liquidity starts to go cold based on what we can see here with the order flow, right? We just kind of ran up. No, not any real proper pullbacks or higher highs. When you see proper pullbacks with 2 candles or more, and then a higher high, you visualize the order flow as traders jump in, induces more liquidity. If we go straight up, it doesn't really induce liquidity. Usually just takes it. So if we don't find support where we are now, which I'm kind of doubting because it feels like a bit of a glass floor, this is the next spot you would want to watch. Right below it at 186.59. We got a previous value high. Right here is a good area of confluence and demand zone here. and a 15-minute order block. If I were to be picky, yeah, I would be waiting for this. Maybe the SFP to the most previous pullback, because that's the SFP targets, guys. Whenever you have a pullback prior to the sweep with a 2-candle pullback, that's your technical target for the SFP. But if we break the pullback and get the change of character, then you could extend your target to your next key area of interest. Could we be considered a 4-hour SFP? We're talking about Solana here. Well, we didn't get the no pullback. Oh, we step laddered our way up, eh? So we did have a. That's ugly. So you're thinking targeting this 4-hour order block then, if you took this sweep? That's possible. There's a great spot down here too for an SFP. Yeah, if we came all the way down there, for sure, that would be a great spot to prepare for longs. But locally, if you're looking for a trade sooner rather than later, you might have a short-term scalp around here, but this could turn, this is more of a swing-bound trade. You could be in this trade for over a week. Depending on how the structure is formed, of course. If we have a 4-hour pullback, then come down, sweep, you'd be targeting that high, or if we pull back here, then sweep, you'd be targeting this high. And hope for a continuation for the change, like the break, change of character. We had a great SFP here with a local target already been broken. Right, this was the local target here when we swept this one from this high. I'll mark that level for next time we come up there. But yeah, this was the technical target here. That's already been met. But then we had a candle close below it, allowing you to extend your target. And you can extend your target based on the measurable target of the head and shoulders, telling us that we're going to come down to this area of interest. So we're getting close to this demand zone here. I would mark, yeah, if we're going to triangle, if we get a box on this, it'll be right here to here. So that's Solana. Bitcoin's getting close to closing below this. If we do get that close, it's a good time to evolve your stop loss to this high if you're on any shorts. What are you talking about? Is anything actually happening with Luna C? It's so they have like this like kind of like a fundraiser to fix it, but I would consider it a zombie token. Not dead, it's tradable, but it's a zombie token. Like it doesn't really have any purpose, unfortunately. So I'd be staying away from it, man. There's a good like saying that Warren Buffett said: if you're not willing to hold it for 10 years, you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. And I would hold true to that for Luna Classic. It's kind of a shit show, honestly. Hey Shane, how you doing, man? You had a big spot bag in Luna, and it was overseas with all the action. Have like oh man, and some people got some money back, but the amount of money you got back was like kind of insulting. It's kind of like the FTX crash. Some people got money back, but it was like an insultingly low amount. I had money in during the FTX crash. I had money in trying to remember what it was called. But they weren't. It wasn't. They had funds like commingled inside of like Celsius and FTX. So when FTX had a crash, I lost all. I had 1 Bitcoin in it. Oh, one of my alarms just went off. Tron. Big fat red candle. Okay, let's go back to our Tron chart then. Let's see. Tron's got some relative weakness. Big time right now. Okay. So I'll delete that so I don't annoy the crap out of you guys. I might get a trade in. If we get an S&P and we don't get a pullback, that's a wild target. Some S&P targets are unbelievable, and when they get hit, it just baffles you sometimes. I can give you a good example on Bitcoin. We just had 2 S&Ps that both targets are just insane. One's still yet to be met. So this is the technical target for this as an S&P if we sweep this low and close above this wick. That's what makes an S&P, guys. If you don't know what an S&P is, it's very simple. You have price action come down, and the same candle that gets below this wick needs to close above it, and that's an S&P. There is behavior you could look for that'll increase your win rate, and that could be like, for example, if we sweep the low and close above the body, that increases your chance of winning. Another thing that increases your chance of winning is basically liquidity. What's the weighted value of the liquidity below there? If it's over $40 million, that increases your win rate. If it's below or above a value area, that increases your win rate. If it's internal, that decreases your win rate. Let's see if we get it. I'm going to set an alarm for here now. Probably go off right away, but just in case we look away from the screen. Oh, the truth. I'm not even logged into Blowfin. I gotta log in really quick. Okay. Error. Couldn't verify me as human. The community makes that joke to me all the time. I'm a robot. Got no motions in my trades. All right. Logged in. If I take this trade, you guys follow along. Make sure you don't follow along unless you know proper risk management, please. Tron. TRX. Features. Okay. TP, market. Leverage I'm going to use on this. What's the value of this candle? 75. Okay. You could use relatively high leverage, like 10x. The purpose of leverage, guys, is to reduce the amount of margin you use in your trade to reduce your risk. It's not to amplify the size of the volume of your account. That's how you get wrecked in the space. It's not a tool to amplify the size of volume in your account. It's a tool to allow you to do multiple trades actively at a time. You're reducing your margin. So for this trade, like you can just use like 10x. Risk to lose 1%. Now, we don't have a produced wick, so I can't get my risk ready, but I got the asset ready on my Blowfin. Crypto's so weird that it might actually happen. Yeah. Well, if it's so dead that like it's worth more just holding it than to, yeah, it might be just worth holding it if you already lost a whole bunch in it. Some people were saying that they had like $50,000 in it and it was worth like pennies in value now today. What's your preferred time frame for SFPs? So I'd say the 30-minute would be the preferred time frame, but the 30-minute is going to give you a low amount of opportunities because with the 30-minute you tend to have structural internal low time frame bullish change of characters by the time the 30-minute confirms. So you have the low time frame confluences like matching what's going on with the 30-minute SFP. But yeah, you'd rarely catch me trading a 30-minute SFP though. I'm usually jumping in on 3-minute and 5-minute SFPs. If we have a proper 2-candle pullback here, this target's going to evolve to be much, much smaller. And sometimes the market does that to kind of ground itself before get the sweep. So we have one green candle active right now. It's not closed. What's up, Yo? Now, how you doing, man? I don't think I've seen you on here in a little bit. Oh, you're talking about Bitcoin. Well, while we wait for this, I don't think I have my... Oh, I do. Okay, I do have my alarm set on this. I'm going to talk to you guys about the Bitcoin SFPs that are going on the daily that are just freaking wild. So before the massive crash, and you can look... Any members, you can look at my like signals. We had the target. We had the target of this low from this SFP, from this high. And it was kind of it didn't really feel realistic to me. So I was telling people to be cautious around this high here and stuff like that. And we had the 4-hour sweep, 4-hour SFP that kind of brought us a little higher. And we took the short, but I closed it a little obviously too soon. There's no way you could have predicted that this could have occurred, of course. But the market told us that was going to happen, which is it's just nuts to me. And now we have this bullish SFP right here that also tells us a story that we're going to come right back up to this high. Yeah, so it confirmed on this candle here. Yeah, so it has a technical target of here, and it's still yet to be made. And it gets invalidated if we have a body close below this area. That's nuts. How the market kind of like told the story of the crash before it even occurred. FYI, you could stack Luna Seed on Trust Wallet. I threw it in there. Oh, you can stake. Yeah, you can stake it on Trust Wallet. Yeah. Compound it. You probably have to compound it for like 50 to 100 years to get your money back, though. What would the technical target be? It currently is 31 cents for Tron, but all we need is a proper 2-candle pullback to evolve that target to be a much lower level. So we'll see what happens. We can go from here to here once we get that proper pullback. It might not give it to us. Like honestly, I'd be looking for an exit plan around here. Unless we break right through it, then I'll stay in, obviously, but... Okay. Have you guys had a profitable week? Put a 1 in the chat if you had a profitable week this week. I think this week was my favorite week for the month, for sure. JB. I was hoping that you weren't the only one, JB. I'm starting to get some more people in here now. Tengu, Blackwater. Right on. What do you guys struggle with the most as a trader? Is it the holding your trades, the risk management, being consistent so that your wins outweigh your losses, having a proper entry plan? As your emotions take over and put you in a trade you're not supposed to be in? Getting close to that low. Boredom. Well, if you're bored, man, that's a good sign. If you have an adrenaline with your trades or something like that, then you're usually risking to lose too much. You don't like waiting for trades. I get you. Yeah, patience pays a lot in this space, though. Getting liquidated all the time. I don't like the term liquidated. So you're not using your stop losses, man. For me, it's confidence in my strategy, which is connected with emotions. Oh, okay. Like one thing that I did, it was like back in like 2019 when I learned how to do proper back testing. And I know back testing is like a subject that people loathe in trading, but I promise you, back testing builds confidence. Because if you, let's say for example, like when I first started trading, I back tested the double bottom, just that structure like this. I back tested that over and over and over and over again. I went through like 4 years of double bottoms on Bitcoin. Like back, and I started that in like 2019 to find out what's the statistical odds of it's hitting its momentum-based target. And the momentum-based target is just this here, when you get the trend line from the neckline to the support, right? And knowing that probability helped me realize that like, knowing probability helps you build confidence, because it'll either tell you that your strategy is not working and that you shouldn't be taking those trades, or it'll tell you that it is working and it'll help build confidence, right? And unfortunately, if you take every single double bottom, you're not going to be a profitable trader. But once you start stacking rules, like, is it at the bottom of the value area? Is it off of uptrending support? Is it off of downtrending support? Is it off of a VWAP bounce? Is it at the bottom of a Bollinger Band? Like, you think of any form of confidence that you can think of, and then realize, okay, if I stacked these rules on top of this, then my probability increases by X amount of percent, right? And like right now, for example, I'm backtesting the crap out of SFPs with the community every Wednesday at 3:30. We go on for an hour and a half, and we backtest every single SFP to see which ones are more likely to win and which ones are more likely to lose, and we find out why, and that way we could build a whole strategy off of it. So you can't really build confidence unless you understand the probability. Otherwise, if you don't know the probability, then emotions will take over, and you don't understand like the long-term like layout of your net R&R without the proper backtesting. So that's what I recommend for you, man, to build your confidence, is going through the same trade over and over again, like 100 to 200 times in the replay environment. And then in the forward testing environment is basically the same thing, but you're doing it with a stupid small amount of funds, like risking to lose $1 trying to gain 2 or more, right? Cutting the cord on a losing swing trade until it's too late. advice on that is, you might have heard this advice before. Like I taught it to like a handful of YouTubers. Is just using momentum as a tool. So when you have like an entry, let's say you enter here, we broke, and then you have your first break of structure. At that moment, you can start drawing momentum, and what you can use is this trend line as a tool to warn you that you should be preparing to potentially exit your trade. So sometimes it will get you out of your trade a little early, but sometimes it will help you hold your trade for a long time, like longer than you anticipated. Like my first macro long-term trade on Bitcoin lasted almost like over a year because of momentum. Like I was able to hold that trade for a long time. And then I had the second macro trade that I took allowed me to get from like 10 Bitcoin to 40 Bitcoin because of momentum, using daily momentum to hold a macro trade. So I recommend like getting a good understanding of when to pull these trend lines, so you know it's appropriate to like start, when it's actually time to potentially get out, because it's telling you that the pace of the sellers, the buyers are starting to shift. And it's a lot better also, obviously, if there's confluence of support after it breaks too, to try to warn you that it might start going against you. Having exit rules is basically what I'm just trying to say. Make sure you have exit rules and not just entry rules. And backtest them against each other. Like every time I enter here and I use these exit rules, what is the probability of me being able to hold my trade a lot longer and be more profitable? But if you don't like waiting for trades, JB, that's you might have to go and turn yourself into a scalper that uses like the 3-minute time frame and build rules off of that. And risk for justice, like it's about trying to be consistent. So no matter what kind of trade I get, other than a cycle trade, that's a different story. I break my risk management rules a little bit when it comes to cycle trades, because they only happen like once every like 4 years. But your goal is just to have a stop loss budget based on your account size. So if you have $1,000 account, you should be risking lose like $10 to try to gain $20 or more. And I know that sounds like a small amount, but it stacks and it compounds. And every time you close a trade, you give yourself a raise. And that kind of consistency is what allows you to stay in the game a lot longer. And it allows you to have like a 100 loss streak before you're out of the game. And people risking lose like 10% or more, they only have like a 10 loss streak and they're gone, their entire account. And it's hard to rebuild from that. Oh, one little tiny little doji green candle, eh? So we have some indecision being made here. Dojis are great when they are after a break of resistance, because they also tell you a story of an incomplete confirmation. Brochaka. It says better lose 5x trades for $50 than 5 trades by 20. I guess that's relative to your account size. Unless I'm misunderstanding that. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on the 2 minute for a second. Yeah, whenever you see a doji, you kind of want to dissect that. I'm going to turn on Argus for a second because I'm a little worried. Where's Argus? There it is. Bybit, Binance, BitGet. Okay. We're on Binance right now. So let's change this one to MEXC. Perpetual futures, MEXC. So, for those of you who don't know what Argus is, what it allows you to do is see wicks on multiple exchanges simultaneously. So you can see here, this little candle here, this red candle, and there's like this green extension. That's because it went lower on another exchange. So Argus allows you to see if an SFP occurred on another exchange that's not on the one that you're looking at. I missed out on an opportunity very recently because of that. Oh, see, we swept down already on... We swept the low here. There goes my alarm. All right, you can stop screaming at us. We got a 15-minute here. So with SFPs, you evolve your time frame. So if you notice that we sweep the low, but it closes below it on, like, let's say the 15-minute, you can, if we're stay around that area, what you can do is you can rotate to a higher time frame to see if it's going to confirm as an SFP there. You start low and you work your way up. Now, because we have such a distance away from this is called a legacy SFP. It's not a local one. And typically, the higher the time frames are ones that you can be trusting a lot more. And when you're in a tight range, you can start using the low time frame safely. We have a lot of distance from this one, so we'll play it safe. Give some time. See how this candle closes. See, is it going to dictate a continuation or not? Last week, Tron breaks the structure with price going 1% lower than last week. Yeah. What do you search in indicator bar to find Argus? Unfortunately, it's a paid indicator. They have a... It's from 11X is the name of the company. I do have a link. I'm not sure if I put it in the description for you guys. Sec here. I'm just going to pull it up. But you're not getting one indicator from them. You're getting like a handful. I can go through some of those indicators if you're interested. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do have an affiliate link. But yeah, if you go to, I'm just going to find their website. They have a brand new website. I got the indicator before they even had a website. I think it's called Trade 11X. Or yes, 11x.trade. So 11x.trade. I'm going to pull it up here. These guys. You get the market structure indicator that I'm using. It makes your trading lazy mode, honestly. And sometimes it catches things that you might not catch, especially if it's internal stuff. You get order blocks from multiple time frames placed on your screen. And you have the Argus indicator. You have the risk management indicator. Members of the community get free access to the risk management part. And they have the Shihai indicator, which allows you to see like multiple time frames with EMAs in a different way, so it's not like laid out on your screen as lines. There are as markers instead, and it also shows you divergences between US dollar tether and the active price action. So yes, 11x.gg. If you use the code InvestiShare, you guys get a discount. Could you teach me order blocks and how to use volume? Volume is, I get you, yeah. Volume is actually pretty simple if you look at it the same way you look at your candles. So when you have your, let me just pull up volume on my screen here. I don't know why it's not on. Volume is super simple. What you're looking for is like a break of the downtrending momentum of volume during the moment a key area of interest is broken. So if you see that the volume is starting to uptick, let me see here. Here's a simple way of looking at it. You just draw like a trend line like this. So this is the volume here, right? The volume picked up during this break. A lot more trade participants came in. So you could use that as confluence, knowing that there's more trade participants kind of like agreeing with that area as being a key area of interest. So that tells you like one small little part of the story. That's just an easy way to look at it. If you see a break of the downtrending momentum in the volume. Let's say there's a pennant, we break out, then you see something like this. It's good confluence that a lot of traders are agreeing with you in that zone. You normally see volume come up during in areas of high liquidity because more trade participants can jump in with a lower amount of price impact, like market makers and institutions and stuff like that. Now for order blocks, it's pretty simple too. What you're looking for is a specific type of candlestick behavior. So if you see, it's a 2 candle pattern, what you're looking for. So if you have, let's say something like this, where you have like a doji, and then you have an engulfing candle, right? Way up. This is the order block right here. What order blocks tell you is that there is a good chance that there's residual buy or sell orders in that area. If we're going up from the break, then it's a chance of residual buy orders. If we're going down in the opposite scenario, there's a chance of residual sell orders. So when we come up to this area, we got to visualize that there could still be orders there waiting to be filled. And then you use structural confluence to tell you that it's being honored, that there are orders being filled there and that we're actually going to start coming down. You don't just ape in a limit order in these areas. You have to look for confluence, like being at a bottom of the valley area low or an area of high liquidity or a demand zone. They're usually very common in demand zones. Like you'll see like a break of structure and return up, right? And then you have like a demand zone created. So when we can return back down to it, it can be used as support. But that's what you're kind of looking for. You're looking for like a kind of like a doji reaction. And sometimes the wicks are really small, so they might be tough to see. But they're all over the place. And they're on different time frames. So the larger the time frame, usually it means the larger the impact it's going to have over the asset when we return to it. This is very close to confirming as an SFP, guys. So during this moment, when you have some distance already away and you're kind of generating a wick, this is when you get your risk ready, right? So you copy, right click, copy price, and make sure that price is the same on your exchange. If it's not, then you go right click on your exchange chart instead. Here, I'm going to pull up my Blowfin. I got like $2,000 in this futures account. So this is my Tron account. Right click below the wick. Put your stop loss here. Make sure you have advanced mode turned on. This here. If you're using Blowfin, turn on advanced mode. Why? Is because it allows you to see your risk before you take your trade. So you put your stop loss there. You have your target. Let's say we're targeting a supply concern here as your immediate threat. You want to know what your risk to reward ratio is to your immediate threat. and you click and you drag it towards your budget. So if your budget's $10, just drag it to negative $10, right? If you want to increase your win rate with SFPs, now I'm still back testing this, but it does increase. So far, what we found out over about 75 samples, you can increase your win rate by about 12 to 20% on your SFPs if you have a deviation of 50% from your wick to your body. So you get your Fibonacci tool, click on the wick, you click on the body after it closes, and it gives you a stop loss suggestion. And we found in our back testing that it increases your win rate by doing this, but it does hurt your net R&R. So make sure that it's worth it. And the reason why this increases your win rate is because sometimes we have secondary sweeps before we come up. And those are frustrating, but they only happen like a small amount of the time. So that's why it increases your win rate by only about 12 to 20% because it only happens 12 to 20% of the time. But there are zones of interest that reduces your chances of that occurring too. And I don't think that this is one of those zones. So I think that there's a chance that this could come down and sweep this. So be cautious. If you want to give yourself some extra breathing room, you can, and do something like that. If you want the settings on this, you can screenshot my chart. You want your 0 level, you want your 1 level, and you want your 1.5 level. And it's always going to be wick to body, whether it be downtrending or uptrending SFP, wick to body. And the bigger the wick, statistically, the more likely we are actually going to go hit the target, by the way. It's evidence of, it's a form of buyer behavior, confidence. But we have about 1 minute and 13 seconds left. But when you have a generated distance from the body and the wick, that's a good time to prepare your risk on SFPs because they're fast. Like you got to be ready, like on the fly, right? But this might not confirm. Missed the action. How was the stream today? Andrew, how you doing, man? How's the Hobbit? Thoughts on Bitcoin 1 minute? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm sure that I remember the day where I could move the price on Bitcoin's 1 minute chart when it was like sub like $5,000. Oh, we can look at the 1 minute if you want, man. Signs of accumulation on the 1 minute. So we have a 1 minute order block. Here's a good example of what order block, man. We're just talking about that. See here? We got the wick, the impulse move up. It becomes mitigated the moment you touch it. There's an equilibrium point here that some people will consider the point where it's actually fully mitigated. But the moment you touch it, you should treat it differently, right? There's an order block there. But yeah, so signs of accumulation on the 1 minute, man. Inverse head and shoulders kind of posture here. We got double bottom posture. We had a supply concern here. That's what created the neckline, right? You always usually have supply here when you see a double bottom. That induces the pullback. We stack liquidity. It's called buy side liquidity. We come up. We have here buy side liquidity that can bring us up. Break that, can bring us up. We have to watch out for the VWAP and the orb that's in our way. The orb is what likely created the supply in the 1 minute and what's kind of helped paint this picture. If we close below here, then we have a break of structure in larger time frames that could bring the price down to our key area of interest for longs down here. This percentage range is tight, so you would have a lot of your trade eaten by fees, trading that kind of move. All right, we invalidated the SFP, but hopefully, like even though the trade didn't like confirm for us, that I was able to teach you guys something. Like, it could still convert to a 30-minute. This is when you'd start to like rotate to higher time frames and see if we confirm that. And the target will change based on the time frame, right? Right now it hasn't changed. Right now it's about the same, but with the same area of concern. If we go to the hourly, hourly is the same. 4 hour, 4 hours much higher. 4 hours way up here. So you need to have at least a 2 candle pullback consecutively to give you a target. The 4 hour SFP would bring you way up here. If you want to play it safe, wait for the 4 hour close. You just got to watch this here. Based on the 4 hour confirmation, the value area low could act as a barrier. Giveaway before 1 p.m. Let's do the giveaway right now. I appreciate you reminding me. Let's do it. I want to give you guys a $6,000 account from Klein Funding and give people the opportunity of winning a free membership with InvestiShare. So let's do it. So let's use the word giveaway. Easy peasy. So I'm going to go over here, get that set up. I'm going to type in the word giveaway. Capitalize your G, just in case, but it seems to be working non-case sensitive anyway, so I'm going to click start listening. All right, it's listening right. Well, 1 second here, guys. Might need a refresh. So I logged in before the live. Yeah, I need a refresh. 1 second, guys. I don't want to. I was going to do this on another screen just for security reasons. Okay. Get a reset. There we go. Okay. So the giveaway we're going to do first. Sorry, you guys already started. The giveaway we're going to do first is the free membership to InvestiShare. One moment, guys. Sorry. Just want to make sure I get the ID correct for this video. I got it here. All right. Delete. Type in the word giveaway. We're going to start listening now. Okay, it's now listening as of now. So I'm just going to do a quick review. Oh, it's already pulling you guys up. We got Maxwell in here, Noah, Beyond Physique, Oliver, Johnny, Pluff, Remus, Andrew, Justice, Dear, Jeff, Mike, Wayne Mac, Music on the West Side. I always enjoy saying your handle. Vibrant Vibes, Jason, No BS Trading, Colin Crypto, Trade Vision, Love Spreader, JB, Sophia, Blackwater, Yonel, Brado Chica. Sorry if I butchered that. Certified Turtle, Zen. Okay. It's starting to slow down on this. Looks like you guys are spamming it. Saying it more than once will not get you more tickets. Or it might help the algorithm though, so I appreciate it. Okay. I'll give it about 10 more seconds. Just type the word giveaway, guys. For anyone who hasn't already. Unnamed Ghost. Jay Becker. Jay Dams. Sage. Colin Crypto. I think you're in there already, bro. Yeah, you are. Chilling. You got added, man. Okay. So this giveaway will just be for people who commented, and then we'll do the giveaway for the $6,000 account for anyone who commented and is a member of the community. Vision, you've been added, man. Cool profile picture, by the way. CT the Greek, you'll be added. There you are. 5 more seconds. Diamond hands. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, let's find out who won this one. I go to draw page. We got 36 people entered into it. 53 viewers. Pick winner. Oliver. Oliver, you won, bro. Congrats, man. So, this is the first time a YouTube commenter has won. So, you just got to send me a message in the Discord. And I will warn you that I have a lot of people that just think I'm worth impersonating for some reason. So, just be aware that you got, that there are scammers that might try to message you too. I will not ask you for money. So what you want to do is just, when you head to the Discord server, look for my name in the announcements, then click on it, and you just send me a message through there. I'll give you an option to send me a message through there, and then I'll do a verification step with you to make sure you are the Oliver that won. You're a member? Okay, then I probably know who you are. I know there's 2 Olivers in the community, so you're one of the 2. All right, cool. So you won. I know you're a member, but you'll get a free month, bro. Okay, so just shoot me a message. I'm going to screenshot this. All right, cool. And then I will put this in my notes. And then we'll do another giveaway for the $6,000 account. Okay. Close. It's like here. There we go. We're going to sync from Discord now. So what this does is allows it to add existing members as well. So they get, standard members get 3 tickets. Elite members get 6. All right, start to go to draw page. Pick a winner. See who wins. K-Bell. Okay, I don't know that handle, but I probably know the member. I pretty much got everyone's names memorized, or handles memorized at least. All right, cool. Congratulations. You won a $6,000 account. If you're watching, I'll make the announcement in the Discord. So Oliver and K-Bell. Yeah, Oliver, you got the free month for membership, and K-Bell, you got the $6,000 prop funding account from Klein Funding. If you guys are interested in Klein Funding, they don't sponsor me, but they allow me to give you guys these accounts, which is pretty cool. They're trusted. I vetted them. So you don't have to worry about anything shady going on with them. And there's a lot of prop funding accounts you got to be really concerned about. But Klein Funding, and I know Breakout's a good one too. And it's a cool way to get funds to allow yourself to grow your own account. And I would recommend when you take your profits from the funding account to bring it into your own crypto account so you can start building something for yourself and not need to depend on a prop funding account anymore. Okay. All right, cool. So we may not have got the SFP confirmation, but you can wait it out to see if we get a 4-hour SFP or an hourly SFP. We got about 4 minutes left on the hourly. If the body and the wick's too close after it confirms, then you can maybe wait it out for a 4. But this could be a good opportunity for a long back into this valley area here for Tron. Congrats, guys. All right, cool. All right, I got to head out, guys. You should be expecting a signal from me as we approach closer to this area when all the safe rules have been confirmed. I'll give you the stop loss, I'll give you the entry, and I'll give you the target. And I'll tell you when I enter, and I'll tell you when I leave. The 30-minute might confirm. You are correct, man. The 30-minute it might confirm in about 3 minutes. It's really tight right now, but I might get that confirmation there. If it does confirm, you just need to close above the body. Make sure you manage your risk properly. The target is here for the 30-minute, but Again, watch the supply concern here and confluence with the downturning momentum. There could be sell orders here that could induce the price to get rejected and come back down for another sweep to the lows. Have a nice Friday, man. Thank you. All right, guys. You have a great day. Thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun as usual. I appreciate everyone who subscribed today. We reached the 7,000 subscriber count target. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Slowly climbing up the mountain. All right, cool, guys. Have a great day. Bye.